She was standing by the counter when I walked in, sleeves rolled to her elbows, hair tied loose like she'd given up trying to look perfect and somehow made that the most perfect thing about her. The house was too quiet for how many people were supposed to be in it. Music low from the other room, faint laughter from the backyard, but here, just the sound of running water and the low hum of the refrigerator. She didn't turn right away when I entered. Just said, "You're not supposed to be in here," without looking up. Her voice wasn't sharp, just aware. "I was looking for a glass," I said. My voice came out quieter than I meant. She smiled. I saw it in the way her shoulders shifted before she turned. "There's always one clean glass left, somehow. You'd think no one else here drinks water." She was right. There was exactly one, sitting upside down on the drying rack. I reached for it at the same moment she did. Our hands brushed, her skin warm, a faint trace of citrus soap clinging to it, and she didn't pull away immediately. Something in her paused, then resumed like nothing happened. "Sorry," I said. "For what?" She asked it lightly, but didn't move back. Just stood there, eyes on me, steady, like she was trying to figure out what exactly I was apologizing for. Her eyes weren't the same color as her daughter's, darker, softer. The kind that held things they didn't say out loud. "You're quiet," she said, finally stepping aside. "Most of them talk too much. I talk too much when I don't know what to say." "Then you must know exactly what to say right now." That caught me. She was teasing, but there was something under it. Something neither of us meant to name. The air between us felt warmer, somehow. I filled the glass just to have something to do with my hands. She leaned against the counter, watching me. Not in a way that was inappropriate, just present. Like she noticed things most people didn't. "You're studying architecture, right?" she asked. "Yeah," I said. "Trying to, anyway." Her mouth curved. "That means you see shapes everywhere." I blinked. Shapes? Angles, lines, where things meet. People who notice structure don't just look, they measure. She said it so casually that it didn't sound like flirting, but my pulse reacted anyway. She reached past me for a towel, her arm brushing mine, and I caught the faintest scent of her, warm, clean, something floral but grounded. It stayed with me even after she moved away. "You look nervous," she said. "I'm not," I lied. Her lips parted like she was about to say something else, but instead she nodded slowly, turning back to the sink. The sound of water filled the pause again. Outside, someone shouted her name, her daughter's voice, bright and young and coming closer. Her hand stilled in the water. She looked over her shoulder at me, and for one long second, neither of us said a thing. The space between us shrank and thickened, filled with everything we didn't intend. Then, footsteps. The door creaked open. She didn't step back. Didn't move away. Only said, low enough for me to hear, "Let's not make this awkward, okay?" And then the door opened the rest of the way. Later that night, I tried not to replay the moment in the kitchen, but it clung to me. The way she said, "Let's not make this awkward," as if it already was. As if we both already knew it. I sat on the back porch, pretending to scroll my phone while the others laughed somewhere down the hall. The air smelled faintly of rain and wine. Inside, I could hear her voice, low, calm, always in control. She was the kind of woman who didn't need to demand attention. The room just quieted when she spoke. When she came out to the porch, I didn't hear her right away. Just the soft scrape of the sliding door and her saying, "You don't like crowds?" I looked up. She had a blanket draped around her shoulders, a glass of something half full in her hand. Her hair was down now, slightly messy from the evening. "They tire me out," I said. She smiled faintly, sitting down on the opposite end of the bench. "They tire me out too. Except I'm too old to admit it." I almost said "You don't look old," but stopped myself. She caught the hesitation anyway. I could tell from the way she looked at me, one eyebrow lifting slightly, as if daring me to finish the thought. She sipped her drink. "How long have you and Emma been together?" 8 months, I said. "That's not long." "It feels longer," I said. "She's easy to like." "Easy to like," she repeated. "That's not the same as easy to know." Something in her tone shifted, softer, but heavier. I waited for her to explain, but she just swirled her glass, eyes on the liquid. "You've been with her dad long?" I asked, before realizing how strange it sounded. Her lips pressed together, not offended, just thoughtful. 20 years, she said. "Give or take a few we don't talk about." That told me enough. She exhaled slowly, setting the glass down on the table. You reach a point where you stop asking if it's happy and just start asking if it still works. Her honesty disarmed me. She wasn't trying to sound deep, she just didn't have the energy to fake things anymore. I don't know if that's comforting or depressing, I said. Maybe both. She smiled faintly. You're young. You still think love fixes things. Doesn't it? Her eyes met mine, steady, tired, real. No. It just makes the breaking slower. For a long time, neither of us spoke. The air between us held that same tension from the kitchen, but quieter now, like it had settled into the space between our breaths. She shifted, pulling the blanket tighter. You're freezing, she said, noticing my arms. I'm fine. She hesitated, then moved closer anyway, draping part of the blanket over my shoulder. The touch was simple, harmless, and somehow not. Her hand lingered a second too long at my collarbone before she pulled it away. Her warmth stayed. You don't have to sit out here alone, she said. I like the quiet, I murmured. You do too. She gave a short laugh, looking at me sideways. Maybe I just don't like what's waiting inside. I wanted to ask what that meant, but she stood up, brushing invisible lint from her jeans. The blanket slipped slightly off her shoulder, and without thinking, I reached to adjust it. My fingers grazed the side of her arm, bare skin, cool from the air, and she froze. Her breath caught. Then she looked at me, really looked, like she was seeing something she didn't mean to. Neither of us moved. Finally, she said, barely above a whisper, you shouldn't look at me like that. I swallowed. How am I looking at you? She didn't answer. Just turned toward the door, but paused with her hand on the handle. Her voice was steady again when she said, "Good night, Daniel." The door slid shut behind her with a soft click. But even after she was gone, I could still feel her beside me, the scent of her perfume, the warmth from where her shoulder had touched mine, and the ache of everything we weren't supposed to say. Inside, her laughter started again, lighter this time, practiced. But I'd already heard the quiet underneath it, and for the first time, I couldn't stop listening for it. The next afternoon, I tried to keep my distance. Tried, being the key word. Emma was in the living room, half asleep on the couch with her laptop open, while her mom moved quietly around the kitchen again, the same kitchen, same soft hum of appliances, same sunlight slanting through the window in that way that made her skin look warmer than it should have. I went in for coffee, told myself I'd be quick. Coffee again? She asked, without turning. Long night, I said. You young people are supposed to recover faster. Her voice carried a smile, but when she turned, there was something else behind it. Something careful. She handed me a mug, and our fingers brushed again, that same static charge, immediate and wrong and alive. I tried to step back. Thanks. Daniel, she said quietly. I froze. She rarely said my name out loud. She hesitated, then, last night. I shouldn't have, it's fine. It's not fine, she said, but softer now. You're a good man. I don't want you to mistake kindness for, I'm not. Her eyes lifted to mine. No? I opened my mouth, closed it again. The silence between us did all the talking. The clock ticked somewhere above the fridge. Outside, a lawnmower started, faint, distant. Then her phone buzzed on the counter, screen lighting up with her husband's name. She looked at it but didn't answer. The vibration went on too long. She finally pressed the screen face down, exhaling. He's at a conference. Calls when he's bored. I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. She turned back to the sink, shoulders tight. He thinks if we talk more, we'll fix things. Will you? Her laugh was short. We ran out of things to fix years ago. She reached to open the window, and her hand brushed mine again by accident, or maybe not. This time she didn't move. The distance between us collapsed to inches. I could smell her perfume again, faint, familiar, like she'd worn it for years without thinking about it anymore. She looked up. Her eyes were darker than I remembered. Daniel, she started, but stopped when she realized how close I was. The air between us thinned to the point of breaking. I could feel her breath, warm and uneven. If she leaned forward even slightly, if I just, a voice from the hallway, Mom? We both froze. Her daughter's footsteps were coming closer. She stepped back so fast the mug on the counter tipped and rolled, spilling coffee down the side of the cabinet. Damn it, she whispered, grabbing a towel. Emma walked in just as she was cleaning it. What happened? Clumsy me, she said easily, with that same practiced calm. Spilled your boyfriend's coffee. She didn't look at me once. Emma yawned. You okay, Mom? Fine, sweetheart. Her voice didn't crack. You'd think nothing had happened at all. But when Emma turned away to check her phone, her mother's hand brushed mine, just for a second, like an apology and a warning at once. Then she stepped away, rinsed the towel, and said, Daniel, could you grab another mug? This one's ruined. Her tone was perfectly casual, but her eyes met mine for half a heartbeat. There it was, everything neither of us could say, packed into that look. Emma's phone rang, and she wandered back to the living room. The moment the sound faded, her mother let out a breath she'd been holding. This can't happen, she whispered. I nodded. I know. But neither of us moved. Her hand was still wet from the towel. She reached for the counter, but I caught her wrist before she could pull away. For one suspended second, we just stood there, eyes locked, breath shared, the world outside still moving but nowhere near us. Then, as if on cue, a door slammed somewhere upstairs, snapping the spell in half. She stepped back, hand trembling slightly. We should, I know. She nodded once, steadying herself, and said quietly, please, don't make this harder. But she didn't leave the kitchen. She stayed, too close, too long, and neither of us could find the strength to walk away first. Rain started just after dusk, a slow, steady sound against the windows that made the whole house feel smaller, quieter. Everyone else had gone out. Dinner plans, a movie, something. She'd stayed behind because she had a headache. I'd stayed because I didn't know how to leave without admitting why. The TV was on low in the background, light flickering across the room. She sat at the edge of the couch with a blanket around her legs, hair loose, bare feet tucked underneath. You didn't have to stay, she said. I didn't want to leave you alone, I replied. That made her glance at me, quick, unsure, searching for what I meant. Her voice softened. You're kind. That's dangerous. Why? Because kindness can look like something else if you stare at it too long. Her words hung between us like humidity, heavy and slow. I sat down at the other end of the couch. Not close, but not far. Close enough to feel the pull. You've been avoiding me, I said quietly. She smiled without amusement. That's the smart thing to do. Then why aren't you doing it now? That stopped her. The sound of the rain filled the silence between us. She reached for her tea, hands steady, voice not quite matching them. Because I don't always do the smart thing. I watched her fingers, elegant, restless, wrap around the cup. When she noticed, she set it down, almost embarrassed. You make me self-conscious, she said suddenly. I don't mean to. I know, she said. That's the problem. She leaned back, looking at the ceiling. The lamplight caught the edge of her jaw, the curve of her throat. When did it start? She asked. What? This, she said, gesturing vaguely between us. Whatever it is. Maybe that first day. In the kitchen. Her eyes closed briefly, a small inhale. You shouldn't say things like that. You asked. Her laugh came out uneven. You're too honest. I don't know how to be anything else. She turned toward me then, knees drawing up, the blanket sliding slightly off her shoulder. Her skin caught the light, soft, pale, impossibly close. Do you think about it? She asked quietly. Every time I see you. The truth left my mouth before I could stop it. Her breath hitched. She didn't look away. Outside, thunder rolled far away, a low, drawn-out sound that seemed to echo through the walls. She reached up, brushed a strand of hair behind her ear, then froze halfway when my hand moved the same way, fingers brushing hers, completing what she'd started. Her eyes flickered down, then up again. Daniel. Her name on her lips trembled like a question. I know, I whispered. We didn't move for a long time. Then, slowly, she leaned forward, not enough to close the distance, just enough that her breath touched my face. Warm. Uneven. Her hand found my arm, light at first, then firmer, as if to steady herself. You're going to make me do something stupid, she said, voice barely holding together. Maybe I already have. Her lips parted, a soundless exhale between us. We were close enough now that every second felt like a decision. Then her phone buzzed again, loud in the silence. She flinched. The spell cracked. The screen lit up with her daughter's name. Neither of us moved. Her gaze dropped to the phone, then back to me. Torn between what she wanted and what she couldn't allow. Finally, she whispered, "Don't say anything." But she didn't pick up the phone. She just let it keep ringing, the sound pulsing through the room like a heartbeat neither of us could ignore. And when it stopped, she looked at me again, eyes glassy, voice low, and said, "This can't stay a secret forever." I didn't answer. Because right then, she leaned just an inch closer, close enough for her breath to mix with mine, and for the first time, neither of us tried to move away. The rain had stopped by morning, but the house still felt damp with what hadn't been said. I barely slept. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face inches from mine, the way she'd looked at me right before the phone rang. When I came downstairs, she was already there, her back to me, making coffee. Same soft robe, same quiet hum of someone trying to pretend nothing had changed. "Morning," I said. She flinched, barely, but enough to notice. "Morning." Her voice was steady, too steady. I leaned against the counter. "You didn't answer her call." "I didn't need to," she said. "She was calling to say they'd be late. She texted later." I hesitated. "You didn't read it." "I did." "You deleted it." She turned then, eyes narrowing, but there was no anger, just exhaustion. "You think you know everything about me now?" "No," I said softly, "but I know what pretending looks like." Her lips parted, then closed again. "Don't," she whispered. "Don't make this worse." But she was trembling, not with fear, but something more complicated. She poured the coffee, hands shaking just enough for a few drops to spill onto the counter. Before she could reach for a towel, I did, our fingers colliding again. It wasn't even a spark this time. It was an ache. She didn't pull away immediately. She looked at our hands, then at me, and I could see her breath quicken. "I thought you were just another one of her boyfriends," she said quietly. "Someone passing through. But you notice things. You say that like it's a bad thing." "It is," she said, voice unsteady. "Because it means you'll notice when I start slipping." "Slipping?" Her gaze wavered, then dropped. Into something I can't explain. I wanted to reach for her again, but footsteps sounded upstairs. She froze. It was Emma, her voice, half asleep, calling my name. Her mother's expression changed, the kind of quiet panic that didn't need words. "She can't know," she said, almost mouthing the words. "I know." We stepped apart, quick, like the air between us was electric. Emma came down the stairs in one of her mother's oversized sweaters, hair a mess. "You're both up early," she said, rubbing her eyes. Her mom smiled, perfectly calm, the mask sliding back on. "Couldn't sleep." Emma moved to hug her, and I saw it, the small flicker in the older woman's body, a hesitation that didn't belong to a mother. She caught herself quickly, hiding it in motion. "Hey," Emma said to me, "Mom's been telling me how much she appreciates you helping around the house." I froze. Her mother smiled faintly, eyes locked on mine. "He's very considerate." It sounded harmless. It wasn't. After breakfast, Emma went out for a walk. Said she'd be gone half an hour. The silence she left behind was unbearable. Her mother turned, leaning against the counter. "We can't keep doing this." "I'm not doing anything," I said. "That's the problem," she replied, her voice breaking slightly. "You're not," and yet, she stepped closer, too close, until the edge of the counter pressed against her hip. "I heard you last night," she said suddenly. My heart kicked. "What do you mean?" "On the phone. With Emma." I swallowed. "You were listening?" "Not on purpose." She hesitated. "You told her you loved her, but you didn't sound sure." That landed between us like a dropped match. "I do care about her," I said quietly. "That's not what I asked." Her eyes searched mine, not accusing, but desperate. "Tell me the truth. Do you love her?" I couldn't answer. The silence said enough. Her shoulders fell, but instead of stepping back, she moved forward, until there was no space left to hide behind. Her hand lifted, barely touching my chest. "You don't have to say it," she whispered. "I already know." The air between us thickened. I could feel her pulse through her fingers. Then, from outside, the crunch of gravel, footsteps, a car door. Emma was back. We both froze again, like caught in a dream that suddenly remembered the morning. Her mom's hand dropped, but her eyes stayed on me. "She can't find us like this," she breathed. "I know." But neither of us moved. The front door opened. Her voice, "Mom?" Her mother looked at me once more, her voice barely audible. "We have to end this, or it'll end us." Then she brushed past me, her shoulder grazing my arm, her scent trailing after her, and went to meet her daughter. I stayed behind in the kitchen, heart racing, her words still burning through me. Because even as she walked away, I knew, neither of us was ready to end anything. The house was quiet again, that rare kind of silence that comes only when too much has already been said. Emma had gone upstairs to pack. The weekend visit was over. Her mother and I were left in the same kitchen, pretending to clean up, both avoiding the same truth. She stood by the sink, drying a plate that had been dry for minutes. I leaned against the counter, pretending to check my phone. Neither of us spoke. The air between us was thick enough to taste. When she finally turned, I caught her watching me. Not with anger, with something worse. Longing, regret, and decision all tangled together. "Daniel," she said softly. "After today, you don't come back here." I swallowed. "You don't mean that." "I do." Her voice was steady, but her hands weren't. The towel slipped to the floor. When she reached to pick it up, I moved too, our hands met halfway, fingers brushing again, that same familiar jolt neither of us had learned to ignore. She froze. "This is how it starts again," she whispered. "Every time we say it's the last." I didn't let go. "Then don't say it." Her breath caught. Her eyes searched mine, like she was waiting for something she didn't want me to give. "You don't understand," she said. "You're young. You'll leave this behind one day." "I won't. I'm not trying to hurt anyone." "That's not the point," she said, shaking her head. "We're already hurting someone. We just haven't told her yet." Her words hit harder than I expected. I looked away, at the counter, the mug, anything but her face. Then she stepped closer, voice low. "I can't stop thinking about that night. About what almost happened." I looked up. "You think I can?" Her chest rose and fell once, sharply. Lightning flashed outside, followed by a low rumble of thunder. The sound filled the silence we couldn't break. She reached up, touched my jaw lightly, just her fingertips, trembling. "You make me feel seen." I'd forgotten what that felt like. I caught her hand before she could pull it back. "Then don't forget it again." Her eyes flicked to my mouth, then back up. "You shouldn't say things like that." "Why not?" "Because if I believe them," she stopped herself, breath unsteady. "If I believe them, I'll do something I can't undo." The distance between us vanished. Her hand was still in mine. I could feel the tremor in her fingers, the heat radiating between us. "Maybe it's already too late," I said. She didn't answer. Just leaned her forehead against mine, a soft, desperate contact that felt like both surrender and goodbye. "I can't," she whispered. "I want to. God, I want to. But I can't." I nodded, eyes closing. "Then say it." "What?" "That it meant nothing. That you don't feel anything." She hesitated, lips parting, but no words came. Instead, she exhaled, a shaky breath that brushed against my mouth. The sound of it alone nearly broke me. Finally, she stepped back, blinking hard. "You should go," she said. "Say it first." Her jaw tightened. "Don't make me lie to you." And that was it. The truth we'd both been circling, finally naked in the room between us. I nodded slowly. "Then I'll go." She didn't move, didn't stop me, didn't even blink. Just watched as I turned toward the door. Then, as I reached for the handle, she said quietly, "Daniel." I looked back. She wasn't crying, but her voice broke anyway. "If you ever wonder whether I wanted to," she paused, searching for the right words, "I did." That was the moment everything stilled. No more pretending, no more denial. Just two people standing in the wreckage of what they almost became. And for the first time, I understood, she wasn't afraid of loving me. She was afraid of surviving it. It had been weeks since I left that house. Weeks since I'd heard her voice. Life moved the way it always does, ordinary, relentless, pretending nothing had shifted beneath it. Emma and I drifted apart, quietly, without a fight. We both knew it was ending, though neither of us said the words. But her mother, Marianne, she stayed in my head like a song that wouldn't fade. I told myself it was just timing, circumstance, confusion. I told myself I'd forget. And then, one late afternoon, she called. Her voice was soft, careful. "You left your jacket here," she said. I almost laughed. 3 weeks ago. "I just found it," she replied. Or maybe I just stopped avoiding it. Silence. Then, quietly, "Can you come get it?" When I arrived, the air smelled like rain again. The same house, the same kitchen. She was standing by the counter, as if time had folded back to the start. But something in her posture was lighter, less guarded. "I didn't come for the jacket," I said. "I know," she whispered. The quiet between us wasn't heavy this time. It was calm, familiar, almost kind. She looked at me like she was remembering and forgiving all at once. "Emma told me you broke up." "Yeah. I'm sorry." I shook my head. "Don't be. We both knew." Her eyes softened. "She's stronger than me, you know. She'll be fine." I wanted to ask if we would be, but I didn't have to. Instead, I said, "I keep thinking about what you said, that you can't." She smiled, faint and real. "I can't pretend anymore." Then she stepped closer, slow, deliberate. No rush, no hiding. Her hand brushed mine, a small, steady gesture. The kind that says I'm still here, but I know what this means now. "I was scared," she said quietly, "of being judged. Of ruining something. Of wanting too much." "I was scared you'd forget," I said. Her fingers tightened slightly, enough to feel it. I didn't. The rain started again, tapping against the window. The same rhythm that had filled every quiet moment between us before. She looked up at me, eyes searching. "So what happens now?" "I don't know," I admitted. "Maybe nothing. Maybe everything." That made her laugh, the soft kind that comes from relief, not amusement. "You always make it sound simple." "It's not," I said. "But it doesn't have to be impossible either." We stood there for a long moment, not touching much, but close enough that every breath felt shared. Finally, she reached up, brushed her fingers through my hair, and whispered, "I kept telling myself I was too old for this. And now? Now I just feel alive." Her words landed somewhere deep, steady. I didn't kiss her. She didn't lean in. It wasn't that kind of moment. Instead, she rested her head lightly against my chest, one quiet, human thing in a world full of noise. My arms came around her naturally, no thought, no hesitation. Her breath slowed against me. My heartbeat filled the space where words used to be. We didn't make promises. We didn't name it. We just stood there, two people who had finally stopped running from what was already true. When she pulled back, she looked up at me, eyes clear. "You should probably take your jacket this time." I smiled. "You sure you're ready to give it back?" Her lips curved. "Not really." So I left it hanging on the chair, on purpose. And for once, she didn't tell me to come back for it. She just said softly, "Good night, Daniel." I didn't have to answer. The look between us said enough. Whatever this was, messy, real, uncertain, it was ours. And somehow, that was enough. 11.